Hey everyone, it's me Tim, and today I'm going to talk about 10 common mistakes that new backpackers make on their first camp out. And jumping right in, these are definitely mistakes that I have made, so I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. These are things that I have kind of learned the hard way. And the first one, and I think one of the most important ones, is overpacking. I'm still guilty of this. I do it. Sometimes I bring a fold-up camping chair with me on a backpacking trip. And the thing is, if you're backpacking, weight really, really matters. More than motorcycle camping, more than car camping. When you are literally carrying the weight on your back, it definitely makes a difference. Each pound counts, each ounce counts. It just all makes a difference. You're gonna be more fatigued. You're not gonna have as much fun. You're just gonna be more efficient if you pack lighter, take less stuff, and it's just gonna simplify things and make your life a whole lot easier. I recommend starting a list and taking notes on your camp out so that as you go, you can kind of improve upon your system. You can decide, hey, I bought this thing, but I never used it. It's not really worth the wait, so you can get rid of it. Or you may realize that you need something you didn't realize you needed, but maybe you just need a lighter version of it. So taking notes and really analyzing your gear. I know that gear is expensive and lightweight stuff is extra expensive. But if you just kind of piece it together as you go, you can come up with a pretty lightweight system. And in this situation, less is definitely more. Next one I am also guilty of, and that is underestimating the difficulty of the trail. I do a lot of research before I go on a backpacking trip. I really want to know what I'm getting into. I want to be prepared, both mentally and physically. But I will say the Grand Canyon, I definitely underestimated that hike, and it just kicked my butt. It was absolutely incredible. It was an amazing experience, but it was so much harder than I thought it was going to be. I mean, I know it's obvious, it's the Grand Canyon. It's of course going to be difficult, but it was a little more than I was expecting. So basically, don't overestimate your abilities and keep things reasonable. Okay, and the third mistake, I definitely do this one too, and that is to not stay hydrated, not drink enough water and electrolytes. It can be really hard unless you have a Camelback on, but when I backpack, my 65-liter Gregory backpack does not have a water pouch, or at least I don't use it. So I'm not constantly sipping water. On day hikes, at my day pack, it definitely has a hydration bladder and I'm constantly sipping water, and it's easier to stay hydrated. But when I'm backpacking, I'm not stopping to get the bottle of water out of my bag every 15 minutes or whatever. So I definitely need to work on this and definitely drink more water. It's super important, and you're going to just have a much better time if you're hydrated. The other thing too is I don't like to have to pee on the side of the trail, so I kind of avoid drinking water, but it is super important. And definitely remember to bring some electrolyte packets with you as well, especially if you're backpacking in the Arizona desert. Okay, and the next mistake is wearing inappropriate footwear. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to buy super intense hiking boots, because they could be heavy, they're probably going to be expensive, and you don't necessarily need the ankle support. You can get away with some trail runners, and they're going to be lightweight, comfortable, they're going to grip pretty well, and they're going to keep you from having any unfortunate accidents. You can still roll your ankle, but if you're careful, just having shoes that grip well and are comfortable, I think, are the main key points for this mistake. Number 5 is ignoring weather reports. I always do check the weather, but things can change quickly in the desert. And sometimes you can get caught off guard by a thunderstorm. So definitely check before you go on the trail if it's going to be raining or windy or any kind of adverse weather conditions. You want to be prepared for that ahead of time. Make sure that you have everything you need for rain. Ideally, just avoid it altogether if you can. Mistake number 6 is failing to plan for emergencies. I always take my Spot X with me so that I have the ability to call for help if I do need it. I can communicate with people and let people know where I'm at, kind of check in, so that if something does happen, people know where to look for me. And the Spot X comes with insurance for evacuation and vehicle recovery insurance. So if I'm out in the backcountry, there's a lot of peace of mind with this. You definitely want to think ahead. Hopefully nothing ever goes wrong. And I've never been in a major situation where I needed to use the Spot, but it's nice to have it. And if I ever do need it, I'm sure I will be happy that I brought it along. Number 7, this is not one that I personally do, and that is not eating enough. I love to snack on the trail. I'm just constantly eating something as I'm hiking, or when I take a break, I'm eating something, just constantly eating. But it is super important to keep your calories up, get some protein, some carbs, and maybe some fruit. So definitely keep this in mind as you're packing for your trip. Bring plenty of snacks, bring enough food for the night, bring a nice hearty breakfast for yourself in the morning so you get off to a good start, and just snack. I mean, it's a fun part of the experience for me. I love trail snacks, so So this is not one that I personally make, but this is a mistake that I can see people making. Number 8, again, this is not necessarily applicable to me, but that is not following the leave no trace principles. I see it all the time. People leave trash, toilet paper, bottles, cigarette butts, everything all over the place, and it's such a shame. So definitely, if you're out there, pack it in, pack it out, take all your garbage with you. If you do have to use the bathroom, make sure you do it correctly and dig a cat hole and bury everything at least 6 to 9 inches deep. So basically just be respectful and don't trash the environment that you're traveling in and backpacking in. I also like to pick up some trash while I'm out there, and I think cleaning up a campsite really helps, because I do think that people are less likely to throw trash on the ground when there isn't already any trash there. When there's already bottles and cans and toilet paper around, people are a lot less likely to not throw something on the ground. I'm not saying that any of you guys do that, but let's all just keep an eye on it and just be respectful of the environment. Mistake number 9 is not adjusting to altitude. This can be difficult to do, especially if you're on a weekend backpacking trip and you live somewhere like Phoenix, which is in low elevation, but you can go out to the mountains for a weekend trip and be up over 10,000 feet, and it can be kind of hard to prepare for that. But basically just take your time, drink plenty of water. If you do start feeling like you have a headache or you're getting any kind of altitude sickness, stop hiking up and start heading back down. Like I said, this can be really hard to prepare for, but at least if you're aware of it, you can avoid this mistake. And mistake number 10 is not following proper trail etiquette. One of my biggest pet peeves is people on the trail with a Bluetooth speaker blaring music. It absolutely drives me crazy. I go out into nature to be alone, to enjoy the quiet and the peace, listen to the birds and the wind, and I really don't want to hear somebody's music playing. Simple things like this, just being polite, being courteous, stepping out of people's way if they're coming uphill and you're going downhill, things of that nature. It really makes a big difference, and it's just a friendly thing to do. So anyways, those are the 10 common mistakes that new backpackers make. Hopefully you learned something from this video, and thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.